This is Erodo Jumbo. In today's tutorial, we're going to create a CAPTCHA validator using JavaScript. Quick reminder before we begin that every day I host a live stream. So you visit ojumbo.com, you go to the watch menu, a live sub menu, you can see the current title of this live stream is called JavaScript CAPTCHA Validator. The channel it's going to be on and the date and time. And these are topics for future live streams. And each of those articles is going to have a snippet at the beginning of each article to tell you when the live stream will be, the time. It's always going to be Eastern time. And you're free to ask questions or make suggestions or any requests related to programming or its lifestyle topics in the live chat. And where do you get the live chat? There's a link here. So you go to this channel, you log in, then you can ask questions, request, everything like that. If you don't want to do that, you can watch the video. The video is embedded. I'll show you where that is when we scroll down in this article. So it's quick. So basically, this is just a validation form. So if you don't know what CAPTCHA stands for, it actually stands for Completely Automated Public Turing Test to tell computers and humans apart. It involves challenges such as identifying distorted tests or selecting images. There's other types where, maybe it'll be a math equation, but these are the most common ones because they're easy. What I mean is that they're easy to implement and people can, for example, you don't need to translate them is what I'm getting at. So they're pretty easy. The problem with the numbers, you can say, okay, add this to numbers, and you need to translate to different language. This ones you don't have to. That's why it's easy for programmers and everybody involved. So the CAPTCHA is usually used on web forms to prevent spam, malicious bots, and other automated attacks. The CAPTCHA requires a challenge that's relatively easy for humans to complete, but difficult for bots to replicate. In this tutorial, we're going to create a text-based CAPTCHA generated that users must type in the input box. So as you can see here in this other one here, I display the text here, and then the person will need to enter it inside this input box. And then let's say they get it wrong or they do something wrong, they can hit the refresh button to clear the box, and the refresh button will also create a new entry that they will have to enter here. And this is just a form to submit, and the reset just clears the fields anyway. Okay, so text capture, that's one we're doing today. It's called invariant recognition. That's the ability to recognize letters despite large amount of variation in their shapes. And then there's also segmentation. That's the ability to split one letter from another, made difficult in captures. And then there's parsing. So this is the ability to understand CAPTCHA holistically in order to correctly identify each character. So what I've done here is basically the text. If you're doing the text capture, you have distorted letters or numbers that users must type inside the text box. As you can see, an example here is TD4EVA. And then there's the image one. This one identifies specific objects or shapes in an image. So for example, here, I might ask you to get the triangle or click on the triangle or something like that, or this circle, or maybe just the outside, the boundary. So that could be an image one. And then there's audio. So the audio one, it identifies specific objects, shapes in images. So for example, the audio, maybe, for example, if somebody has, what's the word they use? When I was younger, they used to say disabled or blind. I guess you're not supposed to use those words today. I don't know the term. Forgive me for that. If I remember it, I'll say it. So what I'm saying is that for people who, there we go, hearing, not hearing impaired, I guess, I don't know why you say seeing impaired, whatever. Anyways, the point is that, for example, you play this, you can actually play it, or jumbo.com. So then the person will know that, I have to type in ojumbo.com or maybe say it as well. Okay, and then there's math, as I mentioned before. With the math, you just simply solve simple equation, for example, 1 plus 2 or something like that. You'll be expected to put in the answer there. So those are the different forms of captchas, where today we're only working on text. And in this tutorial, the text is not distorted. Because this is just a beginner part, we'll do that in a future tutorial. So here's the HTML form. You can just expand the source to get it. And this is the CSS to style it. And obviously here's the validator, which will be obviously in JavaScript, and it will also generate the captcha. So the explanation, very simple. We're going to create an HTML form to hold the captcha, input text box. I've explained this, refresh button, what it does, and the submit button. Pretty simple. So this is what it looks like unstyled. And this is the one after I've styled it. And obviously when you enter and you click, you see I also added an output tag here. So you see I deliberately entered the wrong thing and it said failed. And obviously if I enter the right one, it will say thank you or something, or basically to continue because it's correct. Okay, so to follow along with this tutorial, you can use any IDE or text editor you want. You can even use the Learning JavaScript course web IDE in the new browser. So the Learning JavaScript course, that's on ojamboshop.com. Regardless of what one you do, you always need a web browser, and you can navigate and drag and drop if you're using a separate HTML file. So JavaScript is open source. It follows the MScript standard, licensed under W3 software license. Obviously, it's a permissive license. And CSS is also under the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. That's also obviously a permissive license. And with that out of the way, I think we can get started. This is the video saying, so this is live, like this live right now. If I play this video, this is also, as you can see, the live world. So if you don't want to, if you just want to watch the embedded videos, you can do that as well. Okay, now with that out of the way, I'm going to use NetBeans today. So you see NetBeans here. I have an empty HTML file. I just put it in a folder. I'll show you the folder in a second. So here, this is just the folder. This is the audio that we play later, which just says ojambo.com, and this is just a base 64 image file. That was for the article. The reason I did that is because I didn't want to upload files. I wanted to make them what do you call it? I wanted to make I wanted them to be embedded in the HTML file, so that way I don't have to, if I lose the files, whatever, in the future, it will still work. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started. So also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. Okay, so let's get started here. So obviously I'm going to need a doc type. Let me zoom in here so you guys, zoomed in already. So let's create the doc type. And it's going to be HTML. And some HTML tags. I hope I don't have to say this. It's obviously HTML5. Okay, so in the head section, I'm gonna what title here? I'll just say captcha. I should actually call it text captcha. Yeah, this should be text captcha. I'll say form, and then we'll fill this out later. So these are the styles. This is not a styling tutorial, so I might just copy paste depending on the time. All I want is in the body here. Okay, in the body, make sure I save the file. Okay, so in the body, let's get started. So it's just going to be a form. I'm gonna put everything inside the form. I'll give it a class. I'll just call it captcha. Oh, it's a cold one today. I don't know where you guys are, but man, it's been super cold since spring began. I might have to switch on the heater again. I switched off the heater on mid-April, about April, I think 15th or something. I switched it off, and man, I've been cold. There have been days when it's actually been colder than the last days of winter. So this is an H3 just to tell you what everything is about. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. Wondering why I didn't close the H3 tags. Okay, give this a class called middle, and I'll say form CAPTCHA Validator. So why am I calling this a validator? You understand why? Because I'm not just putting the CAPTCHA there. I'm also going to validate it. Because what's the point of putting the CAPTCHA if it's not being validated, right? So where we're going to draw our text, we're going to use the canvas. Okay, so the canvas here, the middle. The middle is just so that it will be centered. That's what that's for. Okay, why doesn't it have the canvas as well? Okay, canvas, there we go. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so I can type a little bit more. Okay. Then I'm just gonna have a div here. Give it a class of middle. Okay, inside this, the middle class, I'm gonna have some inputs here, text, and then give it a name. Because normally when the form is submitted, enter code. When the form is submitted, that's where you would actually do the validation there. And then I'm just going to give it a button. Type equals button. And the class equals refresh. You can also use another input. I don't want to use an input just because by default inputs do something. They will submit they might submit the form, so I prefer a button here. And because this button doesn't do anything, it won't submit the form, so that's what I like about it. Okay, then I'll create another div here. The class equals CAPTCHA buttons. Okay, finally. And this one, I'll just have I'll use input. I could have used buttons as well. Submit, and value equals submit. I'm going to duplicate this one and just change this one to reset. Okay, so that's and then what I need an output here. This will just to let you know that everything went well. Yeah, so there's an output tag, that's HTML. And then outside the form, I will start our script. JavaScript, that is. So this is going to be self-running. It's like a class or a function. Everything is in here. Okay, actually, it's like it is a class. So so this is a short form of doing all that. Okay, now. So I'm going to create a variable called length, and the length is going to be how many characters of the CAPTCHA I want to make. So it's going to be 5 here. Then I'm going to, so output, this output tag, I'm going to grab it. So it's going to be output equals document dot query selector. And then I'm going to use that form CAPTCHA, hope I spelled that right, CAPTCHA, yeah, CAPTCHA Validator, and then output. Okay, I'm going to duplicate that, and obviously it's not output again. This time it's going to be the validate, and this is going to be validate. So it's going to be the input. There might be more inputs, that's why I'm going to pick a specific one. So I'll say name equals validate. Okay, so that's this one here. You see, where is it? This one here, you see the name is validate. So that's the one I want. Remember, there's more inputs. There's the submit, there's a reset. And I said usually in our form, you're going to have maybe others as well. So I'm going to duplicate this again. And this time, it's a CAPTCHA. So it's going to be, this is going to be the canvas. So you might have more canvases. So I'm just going to pick a specific one. So canvas, CAPTCHA. Because also, some people might have different type of captures, or they might be doing something else with the canvas. Okay, so with that out of the way, so I'm going to create a code. I'm going to say to null. So obviously now, because there's nothing. Now, you don't need to do this. So I could just remove the null and just put it here. But I want to give it a variable because it's good learning for. So somebody asked a question, Mr. Pandi Prak. Hello. And this is for creating a custom CAPTCHA to prevent spam. Okay, so somebody asked what is this for, and I just said it's a CAPTCHA to prevent spam. So usually when you have forms, if somebody submits spam bots, will fill them in and know your forms. They'll fill up whether it's an email or something like that. So this will prevent that. And I said you can do everything in JavaScript. I'm just showing you how to do this. So although this is front end, what I'm doing now, you can take this and do it back end using something like Node.js or others as well. Okay, with that out of the way, let's continue. So I'm going to create a function. I don't want to take this too long. It's okay. So I'm going to create my first function, and the first function I'm going to call it generate code, and then it's going to take in one variable or argument. So it's going to take in the length. That's why I didn't hard code it, because you can make it as many characters as you want. Okay. So inside here, we're going to get the context of the canvas. So that's going to be CAPTCHA dot get context. So we're not doing 3D, we're just doing 2D. So that's why we have to put 2D in here. And then for the code, remember this code was empty. So now we're going to create, we're going to actually get it, and we're just going to use math dot random. It's just going to be random. So, and then toString 36, and then substring 2 plus length. Okay, then we need a font. So ctx dot font. I'm just going to make it bold. And I'm going to make it 48 pixels, and it's going to be serif. Now, obviously, you remember I said most people, when they do this, they have those squiggly lines and stuff. So we'll do that in a future tutorial, but usually they have a fancy font. So obviously you can pick whatever font you want here. I just pick serif for now. But you can have like a scripting type font to make it harder for bots to detect it. So now with that, the next thing we're going to do is, so in the past, most bots would be failed if you just use JavaScript. But these days, they're much smarter. So that's why we're going to come up with different methods as well in the future tutorials. So we'll create a rectangle from 0, that's 0, x and y, up to the CAPTCHA width and CAPTCHA height. Okay, the next, we're gonna fill this in. So fill text, take our code, and capture width divided by 4, and capture, spell that right, capture height divided by 2. And then what we'll do is, remember our output, we're going to set the inner HTML to nothing, because if we don't do this, the inner HTML might have the previous captcha, so we want to clear that. Then with that out of the way, we're going to now do the validating part, which is check code. It doesn't take any parameters or arguments. Okay, now here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to get the the value. So it's from the validate, that's our input box, so validate dot value. And I'm going to check now to see if they match. So I say val.trim, because some people, I don't know why they put spaces and stuff in stuff. So I want to trim it, so remove the trailing spaces, dot length. So this is how to check to make sure it's not empty. So basically after it trims, because if you put one character, it's not going to be empty. So when I trim it, then it will be, then the length will be obviously 0. So that's why I'm doing that way. And then we check to see if it's equal to the code, because they're both strings. That's why I'm using the three. I'm using 3 equal signs instead of just one. Instead of 2. Okay, now with that, close off here. So if this is true, then what I'll do in the output, I'll say output dot inner HTML. I'm gonna use emphasis. I'm using the this symbol above the tilde sign. I think it's called backticks. The reason I like using backticks is because you can pass in variables. Although in this particular case I'm not, but I just want to use them. And then what I'll do, I'll say validated. I close off the that backtick. Okay, I'm going to duplicate that and move it down here. So then here I'll say else here, and I'm going to move this guy up. So obviously it's not going to be validated, it's going to say failed. And this is going to be failed, so if you want to style it, you can do that. Now, we're almost done. So the only other thing we've got to do now is we've got to add some event listeners. So we say document dot, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more here. Document dot query selector form, because we have our buttons, if you remember, CAPTCHA Validator button dot refresh, the add event listener, if I didn't spell anything wrongly, click, grab the event, okay, let me go here to close it off. Then what are we going to do? We're going to go to our gen code and take the length, whatever the length is. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this. Obviously, it's not going to be exactly the same. This is going to be different. So in this case, just the form itself, or I can target the submit button. So here, this will be changed to submit. Oops, spelled that wrong. Submit. And instead of this one, we're going to run our other function, which is check code. But before I do that, I also need to, because I want to prevent the default behavior. So I'll say prevent default, because I don't want the form to be submitted. If I didn't do that, the form would be submitted. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more so you can see all the code a bit better. So that's all the code there. And you can grab this code from mojambo.com. I have it in the code snippet there. So everything here is fine. Okay. Now let's take a look at this. So just open up your web browser. I don't know if it's going to open up here, but I'll try. Sometimes it's hard to drag and drop. Yeah, you see, it doesn't work in this privacy browser, so I have to open up another browser. I'm going to use Chromium. Here we go. So, what? Oh, I forgot to put JavaScript tags. That's embarrassing. Okay, I forgot to put JavaScript tags. Okay, so I just gotta grab this code. Cut it and paste it here. Get rid of the space. Okay, let's go back to the form here. Okay, we're going to see, okay, so nothing is happening. So that tells me that I probably have some errors. I just go to inspect here and we'll go to the console and you can see it says there's something wrong on line 40. So if you click here, it says unexpected syntax and it says line 40. So let's close that and fix it. Go back to our code here. So okay, this one here. Okay, I forgot to put parentheses there. So you see, no more errors. And if we go back here and do a refresh, yeah, maybe I forgot to save. I thought I did save. Okay, let's do a hard refresh. Must be another error because, yeah, there's another error saying cannot add event listener on now. It says on line 45. Oh, I probably spelled this wrong as well. So let's go take a look at that. Form capture. Okay. It's a class. Spelled that wrong. Let me double check the others as well. If I did spell them. Yeah, I spelled this one wrong too. Because it's a class. Okay. Now it should be fine. Nope. Still a problem. Yes, it says failed, so we know it's working, but it's not showing the canvas here. That's probably because it's not styled. So let's, wondering why that's not. I don't know why that's not running. Sure, 36. Thank for our code. Okay, so let's add some styling, and hopefully that should fix it. Oh, this is a problem here too. Is that it? Is that why it's not running? Okay, there we go. Enter code. A few little mistakes. So let's go and paste here. Okay, so it's styled. Why is it not generating the... I think it can't find the canvas. Canvas class middle capture canvas. Okay, let's check this one more time. 2D. Okay. Oh, silly me, I forgot one thing here. I forgot to generate it. Because to start, you need to generate it. That was why I was going crazy. Length. Yeah, there we go. Forgot to add this. This is the default. That's why it wasn't working. Nope. Did I save this? Okay. Let's see the inspector. Oh yeah, there's a problem. It says, oh, gen. Spelled that wrong. Now it should be okay. Nope. Gen code. Okay. Let's go see where I made a mistake. Length. Nope, that's fine. CAPTCHA. Get context. Oh, context. Did I spell context wrong? Get context. Okay, I'm going to redo this one. I don't know why. I have to do that, but that should be correct. Of now. Oh, it says get context and code of now. That's weird. Okay, let's look at the code. I must have made a mistake here too. Validator. Oh, this one here. Man, so many mistakes. There we go. Now it's working. So as you can see, it's 5 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for example, if I enter something wrong here, like I did before, if I hit submit, you see it says failed. If I hit refresh, you see this also refreshes. So if I type in the correct one this time, so if I type in VXJJ9 and I hit submit, you see it says now it's been validated. So as you can see here, thank you. Oh, I see guys are chatting with me. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I am well. Okay, so as you can see, it does work. This is one of the things when you're a programmer, especially when you work by yourself, is that you always run into things, so you always need to test. I always tell people, coding is very easy, not just because you can copy and paste some things, but you can do things quickly, but it's just testing to make sure it works properly. So let's change this to a different number. I've actually seen some captchas which are very, for example, that's why let's change this to 3. So it's going to be 3. So if I refresh this, now you see it's only 3 characters. So I say GPR, and you see it's validated. So if I refresh, if I hit submit, you see it's going to be failed because the code changed here as well. So it has to be the same. And you can make it obviously bigger. So if I change this to 7, for example, if I refresh here, you see now it's 7 characters. So I have to type those in, LXFP0, I believe that is, P3. Yeah, it failed, I think. Oh, maybe this is an O. It failed. I don't know what character that is. I thought it's a number. 0. Oh, this is a 1. Jeez. Yeah, there we go. That's a 1. That's why some people make them all caps. It just makes it easier. You see how I got confused between the 1 and L and I. That's the reason. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Sherry. Sherry? Yeah, thank you. Hope I pronounced that properly. Yeah. So as I said, that's how you learn how to program. If everything was perfect, you probably never learn, because like some of my clients, some of the jobs I get hired for is just to fix mistakes and debug. So Unfortunately, testing is not looked at as a good career anymore, but it's actually very relevant because there are always mistakes and bugs, and to find them, that's how you do it. So yeah, so that's it, as you saw. So in a future tutorial, what I'll do is I'll show you how you can maybe add a wavy line, or you can obviously change the font. For example, this is as you can tell, this is a sans serif font, so you can use other fonts. So let's go try that. I don't want to, so we have a little time. So you see here where I set the font to 48 and I set it to serif. You can change this to any font you want. So for example, let's change it to, what's a popular font? Is it Arial? So this is Arial font. So as you can see the Arial font, you see the one, I can tell this is number one. This is an Arial font. You can pick whatever font you want, even an embedded font. And obviously, I can't think of fonts right now. I think there's a is it monospace? Monospace. Oh, sans. Well, I think monospace is a sans, so I'll do that next. If I refresh this, you see that's a monospace font. And let's, you can do sans serif. Sans serif. Yeah, see that's a sans serif. That's actually pretty nice. You see everything is all on one line, so this is also easier to read. So that's why I do like sans fonts. You can do that as well. You can use any fonts you want. And as I said, that's why I created the variable the length, so you can set it to any length you want. You can also change the colors. We'll probably do that in a future tutorial. So as you can tell here, I styled it. Normally you would put this maybe below or after, and you would be able to submit that way. And you see when I click refresh, it keeps on refreshing. And if you put something in here, you see the reset button. It just removes it makes all the inputs empty or resets them. That's what's called reset. So that's it for the coding part of this tutorial. So I said in this series we'll continue in the future where we'll actually do some more fancy things, like have images, and obviously you can put like a line here or space them out differently, or just make them even, like for example, put this V closed like here, and the Q here, and like that as well. And you can also, so the good thing about using different fonts is you can also make this characters like, give them a texture as well. That's another thing that will fool bots. So somebody asked a question, was what is this for? So as you know, for example, bots won't be able to pick this out, because especially this is generated with JavaScript. So what you can do is every time you create this CAPTCHA, you can use Ajax to send it to your server. It's a PHP server, right? So it has a copy of this. And then when the form is submitted, it will then use this CAPTCHA to validate the form. That's another trick you can do. The bots won't be able to figure that out. That's a simple trick. So as you can see, you don't need to download its libraries, all this fancy stuff. And as I said, in a future tutorial, you also do a code one where we'll be able to generate, for example, something like this, and then have an audio to read it out to us. So, for example, people who are, I don't want to use the word disabled, people who have disabilities. That's what I was looking for earlier. I told you I would figure it out. If somebody who has disabilities, they'll be able to use different ways to still fill out the form. Okay, so with that out of the way, I'm going to close this. We don't need this as well. Let's finish up here. So, quick reminder that every day I host a live stream. So you visit ojambo.com. You go to the watch menu, live sub-menu. You can see this is the current live stream, and these are topics for future live stream. Each of them have the channel the live stream will be on, and the date and time. And also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. If you enjoyed this, consider supporting me. You can purchase one of my WordPress plugins at ojambo.com. You can enroll my programming courses at ojamboshop.com. You can also buy my programming books on Amazon. The links are in the description. So just search for Edward Ojambo. You can also hire me for your programming and app development needs at ojamboservices.com. And you can also become a donor at ojambo.com/donate. The donate method is also up here in the fixed header. Okay, so I see, I think this is the most chats I've ever had, so thank you very much for that. And I'm going to end it here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Thank you.